Searpoy, Coleman, Crawford,
Here.
Fitzwater, Nirenberg, Roberts.
We have a quorum. I move that we go into executive session. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. We're in executive session. I move that we bring House Committee substitute for House Bill number 2 for House Bill 567, 546, 758, and 958 before the committee. Do I have a second? I have a second. The bill is for the committee. So this is the Prop A language. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I move that we do pass House Committee Substitute number 2 for House Bill 567, 546, 758, and 958. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Bernskoetter,
Aye.
Black. Beck. No. Searpoy, Coleman, Crawford,
Aye.
Fitzwater, Nirenberg, Roberts. No.
By your vote of 4 to 2, you have voted to pass House Committee Substitute number 2 for House Bill 567, 546, 758, and 958. The second bill that I moved to bring before the committee is Senate Substitute number 2 for House Committee Substitute for House Bill 594 and 508 before the committee. Do I have a second? I have a second. This is a capital gains, I'm sorry, capital gains tax. Is there any discussion on that? Senator Beck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Real quick, I'm having an issue with the fiscal note. I believe we thought the individual was roughly like $111 million, if I'm not mistaken. But then there's an article out now that they think it's the Missouri Independent is closer to $600 million. So I guess my question would be is how can we be off by $500 million? And is there somebody that can answer that question in here possibly is over Fiscal Oversight? I mean, I seriously, how can we be a $500 million difference?
I don't think we are off. I think the information that we received, we believe is correct. So I'm not sure where that article came from. I have not had a chance to review that, but I'm happy to look at it and come back with you, but I don't think we are off.
Well, I believe it was on the individual, I guess it was 2022, the individual capital gains were like 13.9 billion, or I'm quoting numbers that are not off.
I would probably defer to the Department of Revenue for that since they are the ones that collect those taxes and they're the ones that gave us the information for that.
Well, in some ways, I don't normally agree with a lot of things, but it's hard to make this decision based on numbers that, I mean, if there are $500 million difference is troubling.
Yes.
And to say that's just based on, this is not like a school district not reporting to you. This is not like somebody didn't give you the information. This is the actual, what capital gains were for individuals.
Then I would defer that to Department of Revenue. Like I said, they're the ones that gave us the information that we put in the fiscal note.
Okay. I'm assuming nobody's here from the Department of Revenue to answer this question.
My name is Jeannie Hancock. I'm with the Department of Revenue. The numbers that we give come off the actual 2022 tax returns. We pull everyone's data straight off of there and use it. I don't know where Missouri Independent got their numbers. I've not seen the article. I only heard that they have one out, but ours is the actual numbers that came off the 2022 return. We can't use the 24 returns because obviously you guys are all still, everyone's still continuing to file them. The 22 returns are the most accurate complete year, and we've been using them, and it's the same numbers from the previous version of this or any other standalone version you've seen to now. The only difference between this version and others is because the bill, originally when the language has been floated around, it kicked in for individuals and corporations all at the same time. This one is putting a delay on the corporate, so we moved the corporate off of, we split those, but we've always provided those as two separate numbers that were then combined, and we're showing them now separately. So our numbers have not changed.
Okay, so your numbers add up to the total package, but then that seems to be off by,
Well, I don't know where they got their numbers. Who-
Again,
who's
I don't know
giving
if they're
them
right
their
or not. I'm just-
numbers.
I'm-
Ours are
yes,
actually
yes.
off the tax returns. We actually pull every single person's return in our model, and we run them, and we pull out exactly what was claimed. So that's where our numbers come from. Whoever has something else, I don't know where they get theirs.
and I remember doing this last year, that the numbers varied widely, and then when we brought it back together, it was the numbers that we were looking at originally on a different bill. But this one here, it concerns me that it's a $500 million difference, and
Well, I don't know who provided that. Like I said, I've not seen the article. I heard someone said that there was an article out that someone is floating numbers. We don't know where they get them. Ours are actually coming off the tax returns themselves. So that is what has been claimed in 2 years ago, and that is the most recent year's numbers that we have.
thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to ask the same question. So, and I don't know if you have the fiscal note in front of you, but I have the exact same concerns as Senator Beck here. And so I want to make sure that we're looking at accurate numbers. This is a massive fiscal note, and it has monumentous fiscal implications moving forward. I want to make sure that we have the accurate information in front of us. So on your fiscal note, are you all, and help me out, and
I don't have a copy of it right here in
well,
front of me, but
again, is this correct that in 2022, income tax filers from Missouri reported $13.3 billion in capital gains income?
yes. And then you apply that towards the times the tax rates, and we adjust for that, because the tax rate changed from year to year. So we have adjusted for that all in there,
Okay.
in those numbers. So the capital gains numbers that we're providing are the ones that we believe are accurate.
Okay.
I don't, like I said, I don't know who else may be spreading and where they're getting their data from, but ours are actually off returns, and we're the only people authorized to see a return, because if anyone else has a copy of tax return data, they're in violation of federal law. So,
Okay, thank you for the clarity. Again, I just have very great concerns about how we continue to reduce state revenue and the impact that that's going to have moving forward. Thank you.
but there are other pieces that were added to this, like the sales tax exemptions, that also did raise some of that cost too.
And thank you. I have another question for Julie. Okay, so in the fiscal note, and we had this discussion with some of my other colleagues on in the committee before this. The fiscal note says that the diaper and hygiene will affect local taxes. That is not the case. And so the fiscal note would be wrong, because that was, first off, it was discussed, and then the chapters, I believe, it's only in the state chapter of the local, of the sales tax receipts, because we did not want to affect locals.
Oh, that's okay.
And I want to make sure that,
Oh, yes, I didn't see that. So I'll have to figure out where we came up with that information, but I do see that. It's on page 62.
but I just wanted to be clear that we looked at it in the chapters, and I know there were some questions at the end of the day, but we also did not want to affect the local economies that drastically in some of those.
Well, those are numbers reported from the Budget and Planning, the Office of Administration, so I'll have to go back and ask them why they reported that information. We don't have access to, like Jeannie said, we don't have access to the physical data to do our own analysis. We just have to rely on the information that we receive from OA and the departments.
Well, then I guess I'm assuming somebody read the wrong chapter of the statute that it came
Potentially,
out of.
well, I'll go back to them and talk to them about it, and if that's the case, we'll just do an updated fiscal note.
Okay, well, based on the latest information, I'm not sure where I'm going to be a no vote in committee today.
I had those same concerns too, because I'm getting mixed messages as whether it does or does not affect the locals. And so if you get that information, or if you can check into that, it may be too late by the time we vote on it. I'm not sure, but I would be interested in that
Okay.
too.
Yeah, I'll get that as soon as we leave here.
Thank you.
Seeing none, I move that we do pass Senate Substitute Number 2 for House Committee Substitute for House Bill 594 and 508. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Bernstetter,
Aye.
Black. Beck. No. Searpoy. Coleman. Crawford. Fitzwater. Nirenberg. Roberts. No.
By your vote of 4-3, you voted to pass Senate Substitute Number 2 for House Committee Substitute for House Bill 594 and 508. I move we adjourn. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. We're adjourned.